Good morning and welcome to another Gribbly's Folly Sunday Antisocial, where I have pink eye. All the indignities of parenthood, pink eye is the most indignified. It's the least dignity. It's the worst. And I can't stand. My kid had a cold for 10 days. It wasn't actually a cold. It was like some crazy virus for 10 days. And I'm like, hey, I've made it the whole 10 days. I'm going to get out unscathed. I'm going to be okay. My nose isn't running, right? I'm not coughing. I'm not hacking anything up from my lungs. This is going to be okay. Why does my eye itch so much? He never had pink eye. He just had a regular old horrible cold. And with like weird nausea symptoms, I have had a little bit of nausea. I've got pink eye and gastrointestinal distress. It's really a winning combination. There I was Tuesday night sitting at my computer reading about UFOs, and my eye starts to itch, and then by Monday I'm like, okay, if I don't get in to see a doctor, I'm gonna take a spoon and we're just gonna pop it right out. Anyway, so I go to I have a telehealth appointment with my doctor, and they're like, it's probably just allergies. Is there a doctor watching this that can tell me at what point in medical school they teach you to say that to every presentation of symptoms? I could have arterial spray coming out of my jugular, and they would be like, have you been exposed to any like weird fragrances or anything lately? 8 hours later, after the first lady said it was allergies, an eye doctor is holding me down while he's rinsing my eyeball with betadine to reduce the viral load. He says he sees 3 cases of pink eye every week, but he sees a case like mine 3 times a year. I don't do anything half-assed. I can't just get regular viral conjunctivitis. I've got to get severe 3 times a year viral conjunctivitis. If I were to open my eye right now, everybody watching this would take a big step back from their screen. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here for me to dash the hopes of people who believe we are visited by aliens. Here we go. So let's just set the baseline here. I know that there is other life in the universe. It's too big for there not to be. However, the same reason that there must be life is the reason that that life is not visiting us, right? The vast time and space involved to create the conditions for random life to pop up pretty much precludes that life visiting each other. However, I think that we dismiss UFOs at our own peril. Maybe not peril, maybe that's the wrong word. I don't want to pull a Senator Kennedy here and say, lock your doors tonight. I followed, because I've been mostly laying in bed with my one working eye, reading my phone. I've been following this UFO thing pretty closely, and I think that we are in the middle. If any of you out there are amateur armchair ufologists, you will understand this. We're in the middle of a UFO flap. We're seeing lots of interesting things. Don't believe for a second that it's aliens, but Marco Rubio's interview with the press after his classified briefing, it honestly spooked me just a little bit. Rubio is referring to the Nimitz Tic Tac. It was a 2004 incident in which the Nimitz strike group detected an object, and they scrambled fighters to go check it out, and I don't know what happened, but there was a Tic Tac shaped object, and to this day, almost 20 years later, the government is like, we have no idea what this thing is. The fact that Marco Rubio would come out from this briefing and sort of allude to the Nimitz Tic Tac and other things that were disclosed in sort of the 2017 timeframe, probably when Trump did something extra egregious and they needed to distract from it. Anyway, the fact that he sort of lumped these recent objects in with those historical objects, that gave me pause. My normal threshold, my baseline for is this aliens, is like a 0.001%, right? Okay, I guess it is possible if they're out there and they discover an Einstein-Rosen bridge wormhole or something, they could visit. Rubio's interview raised that to a 0.002%. But then it turned out it's a bunch of ham radio nerds with their Pico balloons. The ham radio nerds never disappoint, right? They're it's like this Scooby-Doo mystery. You pull the mask off the UFO, ham radio guys. What I witnessed on our UFOs and our high strain, the Reddit UFO community that I had been reading all week, they just couldn't accept. They just couldn't accept that Joe Biden, of all presidents, did not come out and reveal that we are being visited by non-human intelligence. They just couldn't. And then they're posting pictures of contrails, and they're like, "Does this look like a shot down UFO?" No, I can see like 3 of them out my window right now. It's almost like the QAnon folks where they say, okay, well, if that was a contrail, show me the flight path of the jet that made it. And you're like, oh, okay, here it is from flight radar. And they're like, that's not a contrail. So I grow more and more frustrated as someone who likes to keep an open mind and could believe in sort of unconventional explanations. I wish that the people who were digging were sane. So I am going to submit to you 2 better theories than aliens. I'm not talking about the Chinese spy balloon or the Yukon object. Who knows what the other 2 objects were, though? We have no idea. We spent like $5 million shooting missiles at objects that we could not identify. One of those missiles missed. Like, are some kids gonna find this thing in the woods? What happened to the missile? Now the missile is itself an unidentified flying object. Okay, more likely than aliens. Number 1. Demons. Only half joking, in the same way that I only have half my vision. That is the extent of my joking here. Look, I don't believe in demons, but it's still more likely that there is some sort of spiritual or psychological phenomenon that manifests in these weird ways and can manifest to more than one person at a time. Some sort of mass hysteria that we would, in the Dark Ages, we would have called a demon. Sleep paralysis is a great example of stuff like this, where even people that have it multiple times over the course of their lives, they know it's not real, they know it's a hallucination, and yet it's still horrifying. I've never had it. Still horrifying every single time. The ontological experience of this phenomenon cannot be reasoned with. And so I think that it's far more likely that there is some sort of quirk of psychology that latches on to a bird, a cloud, a whatever, and perceives it as this otherworldly entity. Maybe because our brains are all built similarly, it can happen to more than one person at a time. Maybe so. Maybe you combine that with suggestion. I don't know. But demons or psychological manifestations, far more likely than aliens. I'm willing to go so far as to say it could be actual demons. Like, have you read the Bible? Like, plenty of us are faithful people, right? We've read scripture, and when you encounter a spiritual being in scripture, when you meet an angel in the Bible, it doesn't say hello. No, it leads with be not afraid, right? When you have to lead with be not afraid, that's because you're scary as fuck. But my second theory, which I think is far more likely than either aliens or demons, is, are you ready for it? I don't think you're ready for it. I recently came across an article from 2018 in the Scientific American, which, by the way, is no weird fringe MUFON publication. Scientific American had this article, and it was talking about climate change, and it was saying, the scientists that study climate change look back in Earth's geological record, and they see other times when the climate changed as it is changing now. And climate change deniers can use that to say, well, we're not causing climate change, this is a natural process, even though we can see no natural reason for it right now. Or do the past similar upticks in the Earth's temperature indicate that there was an unnatural process going on? When the people who wrote this paper started looking at things backwards like that, sort of trying to reverse engineer a solution to this puzzle, they realized that there is no way we would know if there had been an advanced civilization in Earth's distant past, like really distant past. I'm not talking Atlantis, all right? Do not at me about Atlantis. According to my very layman's understanding of this article about this paper, the deal is, if there had been, in millions of years past, an advanced civilization, we would have no way of knowing about it, because the things that we think are forever concrete and metal are not in that time frame. We, as human beings in an industrial age, have existed in like a tiny fraction of a second. If you look at the global lifespan of the Earth, right, it's just a little blip on the radar if you condense everything down. So it could be possible that an advanced civilization from the past existed for a similar short time frame, didn't leave a lot of stuff. How would we know, right? The absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So what signs could we look for? Well, number one, climate change. We already see these signs. Number two, what's interesting to me is the only way to really preserve evidence of technology in the natural world is to get it off the natural world. You send it into space. We have stuff in space that's going to be up there for hundreds of thousands of years, just whirling around the planet, because that's a very stable situation. So if they, see, in every video about UFOs, you eventually start talking about they. If they existed, one of the signs would be things falling back from orbit. Their orbits would decay over time. We would see things come into our atmosphere that appear to be technological. And the weird thing is, we do. Meteorites often fall to Earth with crazy metals in them, right? This is not news, but sometimes they fall to Earth with metals that are so rare, we feel like they could only be engineered. They could only be refined metals. What are they doing in space rocks? Unless, 100 million years ago, that space rock was some sort of advanced satellite. Now, do I believe any of this? No, but it's far more likely than an alien civilization traversing the vastness of the universe. So I think it is kind of a cool idea, right? We've got weird stuff out there in our atmosphere, solar system. What about that object that they named after the Hawaiian word for scout that I never can pronounce? I think it came through around 2017, actually. And it was in a weird elliptical orbit, and they actually said that it appeared to accelerate around the sun. It's far more likely that that was something akin to the Voyager probe sent out by a past civilization than it would be from some other civilization somewhere else in the universe. Taking that a step further, when we see a Nimitz Tic Tac, that is more likely to be some sort of autonomous, like, climate cleaner-upper drone. Like, they had climate change just like we do. They made some super advanced drone to, like, suck the carbon. I'm speculating here. Suck the carbon. It's a freaking advanced pre-human civilization Roomba that's just flying around out there. And of course, if they put these things up there, their two main criteria for success would be don't come back down, stay up there a really long time, and clean up the carbon. Like, that's all you gotta do. Just like a Roomba. Clean the floor, don't break. Now, Roombas don't last for 100 million years, but if it was an advanced civilization, maybe a few of these things lasted, and that is what we see out there. I don't know. At this point, I don't really care. I've read enough crazy people talking about the events of the last week that I am done with this unless someone can confirm for me that we are in contact with an advanced civilization from elsewhere, from here. Unless they can cure viral conjunctivitis, I don't care. Thus, the antisocial extends not just to Earth society, but past, present, future Earth societies, or other, galactic societies. I'm antisocial toward everyone. Thank you for watching. I hope this has given you some food for thought. The Billings, Montana stuff, it's just contrails, y'all. Don't be fooled. Just contrails. Keep the ends out for the ties that bind.